What you got going on over there? Random rambling, it's a lot over here, so just keep up. Welcome to my life, be like real life, told by IQV. What it look like this week, we got an hour for you to save the world, let's go. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hey, so yeah, welcome back. And let me tell you something. If you reach this part, that means I haven't recorded and uploaded, rather, all of the parts for like the last couple of weeks because my life has been defragmented and it needs to be it needs to be my life is fragmented. Sorry, I can't talk. And I need to get it together. I really do need to get it together. I done way more this week than I thought I was gonna do, have to do, etc. And yeah, yeah, I'm gonna take the blame there because I knew better. I knew better. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna record this pod, and I know I make a promise to come back every week. Y'all, I've got to get my life together. It's just chaos. It's chaos. What is QV's life like? Chaos. And here's today. It is the end of spring break, 4/12, 2026, and I'm gonna gonna upload all these podcasts on one day with a misposting on. Yeah, yeah. Like I'm tired. I am tired. No, I have not had any progress anywhere. I did, with the help of my bonus and some angels, was able to get my mortgage paid up into now. I have to June 15th to worry about money and mortgage and stuff. But more than that, I actually have to find school money. I have exactly 5 weeks to figure out what I'm going to do with school. Um, yeah, it's everything's just swirling around. Christian's behavior hasn't been very mindful or demure, and that's just making it worse because it's just throwing me even further down the toilet than I actually even want to be. So, yeah, that's my life. And I'm not going to dwell on it because the more I dwell on it, the more I go and spiral out of control. It's just that. Um, I actually have good, meaningful things that I want to talk about on this podcast, which is really a continuation of things in and out. Y'all know I don't do things consecutively. I talk about something and I might talk about something else and then I'll come back to something. And on the top of my head, I don't know where this something that I started talking about, it's probably not uploaded or getting uploaded in dispatch. Anyway, I want to give y'all premises of how I actually got to this topic. So a few weeks ago I was doom scrolling. That's what I do to decompress when it's going way bad. I doom scroll until the ends of um the earth or whatnot. And in my doom scrolling, I came across this short snippet of a movie on Tubi. Um, sorry, I'm trying to get adjusted here. I came across this short movie documentary rather on Tubi called Deconstructing Karen, and it kind of started churning gears. So once I sat down, I went and I actually decided to go watch the whole thing. Set some time aside instead of doom scrolling. When I need to decompress, I decided I'd go watch this. If you know me for any period of time, documentaries are my thing. I don't really watch TV and stuff like that, but when I do, I usually throw on me a good doc. Good documentaries do it for me. Usually crime, real life stuff, that's what I want to watch. The stuff y'all probably don't want to watch. That's what I want to watch. And I don't know, this documentary really did it for me. It's probably one of the best documentaries that I've seen in a while, because it really explores and white women and their entitlement and their privileges, and the ways that even the little minuscule micro racism can show up in everyday interactions, especially when there were lots of them that didn't consider themselves racist. Um, and I don't know. Um, I guess the big part about it is that people think, or white people think, that racism has to be loud and proud. Like some white people are just openly bigoted, racist. They will tell you, I don't like. They don't feel like some of their actions and their opinions are racist, because they feel like I have a proximity to people of color, more specifically black people, that I couldn't be racist. If they're not shouting from the roofs of their mouths, I don't like black people, I hate black people, blah, 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 then they're not racist, which is more far from the truth than anything. The silent is what I call it, or the more subtle comfort racism does more harm than the loud. Because at least when you're loud about it, I understand you. I understand your position and I know how to treat you. But when you're soft and subtle, you begin to throw me mixed signals about it. And I will say some of it is, I didn't know, I didn't think of that as racist. And some of it is intentional. Intentional as all get out. Know exactly what they're doing. They just don't want to be loud and proud about it. And those are the things that I'm going to get into on this episode, because I know people that think that their proximity to black is what cancels out their racism, and that couldn't be more false than blue is pink. I don't know. You can be in the midst of black people up into being married to one as a white person and still be racist. I know this gonna hurt y'all's feelings a lot, because there are a lot of women that think that sleeping with black men make them not racist. Some of them sleep with black men because they are racist. Babe, yeah. I know it's y'all gotta follow me on this one. So that's what I'm gonna be here, because um being in proximity of black people does not discount you being prejudiced of anything or racist. Um, that just means you know somebody black. I know white people. Okay, okay. So, if you watch deconstructing Karen, it's a dinner party, and they're all sitting around and they're discussing traits and attributes and how to be an advocate or ally to black people, and what the subtle and silent racism look like, all the things. I really want y'all to go watch this. I don't care what you are. You really need to watch this. This is a much watch. This is why I'm going there, because it's literally a much watch. It's eye opening. And as a person who commingles with lots of different races, some white people I know really need to go watch it, because they find themselves saying stuff and I have to call them out on it. And I am that black friend that will call you out and say, "My friend, that was nice, and this is what that really means." And some of them was like, well, and then some of them was like, well, I didn't think it really meant anything. I really didn't think it's serious. And some people, what you don't understand, we're growing up in an age where black people aren't stupid as y'all think they are. We are not our grandparents and great grandparents and great great grandparents and so forth and so on. Black people are very much educated and they understand now. The playing field, I won't say it's level, but you, I still feel like, I'm trying to figure out the best words to say this. I still feel like that because of the stereotypes that are passed around about black people, that some people feel like that black people are very unknowledgeable and uneducated, and there are some ignorant niggas out there. I'm not even finna hold you up, but we're living in an age that there are way more black people that have education, knowledge, and understanding than not. We just not po Negroes no more, illiterate Negroes, incompetent Negroes, etc. And that's where you get the whole fallacy of DEI being, she got listed, somebody had to give it to her. No, 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 babe. Black people, and I'll say this and down here, have to prove themselves 40 times more than the average white person because people don't believe in the ability of black people. And it's really just stereotypical. And I watch this happen a lot when you see black valedictorians, black scholars, high achieving black people. People always question, did they really earn it? I guarantee you there are people who, and you do see this, especially when you get black valedictorians from a predominantly white space, that parents go and say, well, I want them to pull every grade out and I want them to do this and I want them to do that, because there's just an expected discount on the life and achievement of black people. And I don't understand it, because time and time again, we have proven that some of the greatest works and inventions in this world came from black people. This world was built off black people. And if it wasn't for black people, the operations of this world would probably be nearly cease. So I don't understand your craziness, prejudices, and foolishness towards black people. Why are we still having to have these conversations in 2026 like it's not common knowledge? I don't know. I don't know. Why am I and others still having 1940s type racism, racist encounters with white people is beyond my comprehension, because, babe, we're living in an information age and we're also living in an informed age. I'm not as crazy, I'm not as scared and foolish as my ancestors. Get it together, Sister Boo. This is not 1940. It ain't your word versus mine, especially if I'm recording. And what still woos me, and like what gets me about racism now, it's very expensive. We're living, like I said, in an informed and and in an information era. So y'all get in here and y'all think y'all are better than everybody, and y'all have these little racist encounters and thinking that you're better than everybody. You get recorded, you get on the internet, you lose your life and your wealth and everything, and then you want to get on here and cry about how you lost your job. And but what? Babe, racism is expensive. It's expensive to be cruel and unkind to people because they don't look like you. And you would think this would like stop after one or two, but y'all literally get on Al Gore's and Beyonce's internet and act a fool and don't think your job and your livelihood is at stake. Have we not learned anything in the last, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years? Y'all are still willing to jeopardize your livelihood for false accusations and beliefs over black people. It's crazy. Y'all still want to get sued, still want to lose your jobs, still want to be able not to show your face in society. You still want to be clowned on the internet for years and years on end, be made memes and stuff to where No one wants it. Like I'm not understanding. And you would think that, you know, especially in between the last election cycle and coming now into the midterms, you would think that, why would you say that on an internet? That's We're in a 24-hour cycle. It wasn't gonna last long before I started yawning. We're in a 24-hour cycle of news and media, and you don't think that your racist comment or your bigoted comment that you made at 9 p.m. isn't at your boss's face by 5 a.m.? The internet worked fast, babe. Works fast. And then you holler out, I don't care about losing my job. I don't care about this and I don't care about that. And then we see you months later, if you ain't in jail or somewhere, you on here crying out, I lost my this, I lost my job, I lost this, I lost that. And I don't care. And it's so not fair. I want y'all to understand, when y'all go hollering free speech. Free speech does not mean free of consequence. There are consequences for saying the things that you say. So it's just good practice to not say it. I mean, what happened to the good old days of, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And a lot of times I be wanting to ask, when I see a lot of these situations play out on the internet, it's like, what did black people ever do to you anyway, honey? That you got to be acting and doing all that. And a lot of times the questions actually do get asked, and you find out that it's nothing. It's just learned hate. Because you have to understand that hate is learned. You are not born hating people. You learn how to hate people. And a lot of it's for something somebody said and didn't have any kind of understanding. And then y'all want to throw the Bible and mix the Bible on in, which is a whole nother story. I said, well, what happened to the part where in everything you get understanding? What happened to, you're supposed to love one another and bear each other burdens? I mean, all of these things that y'all are, I don't know. What happened to feeding the hungry and helping the sick, and what happened to being a kind, empathetic human being? Like, what happened to it? I don't even understand. As bad as it's going right now for everybody, which was totally avoidable, I don't even understand being hateful towards your neighbor at this point. What is the gain of being hateful? What do you get out of being hateful other than losing everything? Because most people just record and put you on the internet anyway, honey bun. And these companies not playing because they don't want no parts of it. You see how fast people destroy companies' reputations when they decide to deal with people who share opinions and beliefs outside of their values? Yeah, lightning fast, let you go. It don't make sense. What for? Like, y'all love to throw around, I'm not racist. I have black friends. I can't be racist. My church is diversity. I can't be racist. My partner is black. Okay. But how do you respond when the same black people end up challenging you? Or when that black person is in trouble? How do you respond? Because that's where you find the truth. That's when your comfort is disrupted. Because it's more about being in the proximity of anything. Proximity shows nothing. What they say, almost only count in horseshoe. I can say all day long, as a parent and a child of special needs, well, my child's is special needs. Oh, well, my child's special needs. That don't mean that I like and care about all special needs children and will advocate and will be there and advocate. But I advocate for my child and everybody, because if you come and tell me something's wrong, I don't care. I'm going and I'm going to say something. And we're going to figure out how to fix it. Period. Your proximity doesn't make you an advocate or an ally. It just makes you present there. A lot of y'all use your proximity as a photo op anyway. And I'm gonna tell you another place, another thing that y'all think, I I go to a mixed church and it's multicultural, so I can't be racist. Yeah, you can. And I want to put a pause right there and help y'all understand. Going to a church with a mixture of people does not make your church multicultural. A multicultural church is a church that is blended for all that attend. So if you go to a church um where you have multiple races of people, but the culture and the environment and the setup of the church is still very much like a black church, you just have a multiracial church. It is not multicultural. Until you start having services that are in Spanish, traditional services for blacks, whites, and everybody else. It's a blend or a mixture where you're singing not just all black songs, you sing songs that will be traditionally CCM, etc. Your worship styles are kind of mixed, kind of not like sitting up as the black preacher hooping and hollering all the time, where you actually take moments to teach and actually read from the Bible. Then it's only just multiracial. It's not a multicultural church. I just want to insert that right there. And I know some of you are gonna argue with me, but amen. Mm-hmm. Amen. Okay, I'm gonna wrap back over here to this religious violence. They have their way of covering up um things, just not just abuse, just biases. Um because like I said, when y'all wrap everything up in God, nobody tends to question you, because we have this blanket of, well, you shouldn't question God, because questioning God is sin, is disobedience, is crazy, everything. And this is how you get these extremist movements in the name of God, because the fear has been taught to you that questioning God is shameful. And it's not. Because how will you ever learn if you don't ask a question? I'm gonna let y'all hang out with that. People who say that they love everybody and they serve and preach and protect that, and they're just as nasty on the inside. And when you call it out, they get super spiritual and tell you, let's just pray about it. Don't call it out as he's God anointed one. That's just, it's disobedient to go against him. Let's not call division. No, let's call it what it is. Because some people label, well, the Lord said, God has it this way, the Lord has put me here. It's control. It's control. It is control. And I talked about this a few episodes ago. This is how y'all get these religious movements. If you ever want to know how MAGA came to be and why they still have absolute power, it's God and religion. The idolization of God and Christianity is how MAGA is still able to exist. And I talked about this, I think, maybe I didn't know I wanted to talk about this. People don't know how to separate themselves and their beliefs from from their emotions, and they put them together. Um, Let me rephrase that. People don't know how to um separate their duties and obligations as people from their emotions and their beliefs. And so this is why they have them intertwined together, thinking that I have to go and vote for somebody who best fits my religious values. And I'm gonna be the first person to tell you, none of one of them do, for real. I mean, being a part of the same religion doesn't make you have the same religious values. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, the stuff y'all be talking about as Christians, babe, the Bible don't say that, and I didn't get that out of that either. A lot of things, a lot of people only listen, and I've said this before. I've listened to other white people say that they didn't really read the Bible for itself and realize that a lot of things that are said in church are generalizations and stuff until they were old, because a lot of white churches have curriculum that they read from, religious curriculum, stories and stuff that people, literature that people write and stuff for church. And they just fill it in with a couple of scriptures that they actually read from, and sometimes in different translations and stuff. And yeah, which makes it a whole mess. I know I took a long pause right there because I think y'all need to think about it. Your religious beliefs and who you should vote for, I'm going to be the first one to hold your hand. And I don't know if I've said this again, but your religious beliefs doesn't pay your bills. Your religious beliefs does not get you a job. Your religious beliefs does not figure out how high or how low your bills are going to be, what kind of schools, what kind of resources your children get. Voting does, though. I really want y'all to understand that voting does. Religious and politics is propaganda and bandwagon banter that you shouldn't be falling for anyway. And I'll be straightforward and honest with you. And I know I'm going to receive a lot of hate for this. I don't care if the person is atheist, satanic, and agnostic. If their plan in this life in here is to lower prices, make things more affordable, close the gap from the wealthy to the poor, and create more opportunities for families to thrive, especially non-traditional families like single families with only one parent, families that have special needs children, families that have lost um, that have experienced traumatic loss, etc. If they're going to reform, I don't know, the way estates are handled when people die and stuff like that, then I'm voting for them, because those are things that I need done in my life. If they're creating opportunities for resources for special needs kids, I give a flapjack and a hoot nanny what these people believe. They can believe in doornails. I don't care. Their beliefs and what they need to do on this earth, I can care less. I hear a lot of people now making noise now that we have a lot of Muslims that are becoming politicians and talking about the rise of Muslims. And I know they eating Philip Anthony Mitchell up right now because there's a rise of Muslims and stuff like that. And then you got the Zionists and believing in Israel is supposed to be the promised land, when Israel, the state, and the actual Israel in the Bible are two different entities, and y'all don't seem to understand that. and everything, it's because y'all want God so bad that y'all will cut people off. And so you have people like, I can't remember the content creators who end up making people, oh God, I can't think of their name. I should have wrote them down on this piece of paper. There are a couple of white male content creators who go to these rallies and protests, who MAGA rallies and protests, who protest things like abortion, and they use like scriptures and all of this stuff and killing people. And so they go back and they ask questions, and then they recite stories. I could tell you one in particular. I think this was outside of an abortion clinic, is where this was. I didn't It's just snippets, of course, is what you see. 1 minute, 2 minute snippets of these call outs. And it was a lady and the guy, and I forgot what she said. Dang. Anywho, um, I think she was talking about, yeah, it was about abortion and killing children, and you know how they are, what they think that abortion is. If you want to know my stance on abortion, that's your choice. Like, I literally don't get into other people's business because I have too much of my own. I'm not condemning anybody for their choice. It's their choice. It's their choice. Um, what they choose to do with their life is what they choose to do with their life. It doesn't pay your bills, and that's my stance on mostly anything. If it pays my bills, is when I mind it. Point blank, period. And so he was like, God told us not to give up. She was like, God told us thou shalt not give up, blah, blah, blah. She's like, he goes back and he said, isn't this the same God that ordered the firstborn sons to be killed? And they get stomped, because the same way you use scripture to pawn off your extremism, I can come back I can come back and rebut it with a fact, and all you're gonna be doing is stuck standing there. I love them. You just have to find them. I want to say one of them is, I know one of them is Walter Masterson, and I think that's his name. And then it's another guy. It's another set of people, y'all. These are the people I giggle every time, because I was like, y'all don't understand what using the Bible against people actually does. It does nothing. Justifying your hate or your opinion with a Bible verse is just like me wearing up a paper bag. What's the point? What's the point? The Bible was never meant for you to crucify people. That's not what the Bible's for. The Bible is literally inspired word of God, basic instructions before you leave earth. And it's really just a guidance tool. And in order for you to understand the Bible, you need to understand the history, the time period of anything in the Bible. You need to understand how to read the Bible, but that's what they should be doing in church. Instead of teaching you that we have this president, it's supposed to be all in all. And if you don't believe in him, you're going to hell. And all these things that is God's chosen one and everything else. The same president has openly admitted that they really don't believe in God. But I'm not going to get into that. Y'all stop letting religious ruin y'all day, okay? Religion ruin y'all day. And this is going to bring me to my next topic. That we have people in education and service, in service spaces, that position themselves um as helpers in the Black and brown communities, and they really do more harm than help. Yes, I'm talking about some of these teachers too, who take jobs in predominantly Black spaces to try to make themselves look unracist, not what they seem, and they ultimately do more harm than help, um, because they want claps and praises and everything else that they want, while they still silence Black voices and dismantle their lived experiences and control the narrative. I really want y'all to understand it. It's not all about white people. It's not all about black people either, but it's not all about white people. And we're seeing this in education where everything, where real, true American history, which black history, slaves, and all of that is a part of American history. Native Americans are trying to be erased out of history because it's too unbearable and stuff. What? We are a country about every 20 minutes that's inciting a riot and a war, and you want to say it's too uncomfortable? Huh? Baby, what? Hmm? Yeah? You sure? Because it's not about white people. It's not all about black people. It's about behavior. Because you can advocate and do things for black people and brown people and still don't believe in their humanity or the fullness of their humanity. And we see this show up in education more than anything because black students can do the same thing as a white student and be labeled defiant, aggressive, behind, and white students get behave creative, leaders, strong-willed. Even in medical, it's the same way. Black lady her can reject or ask question, even question the treatment, and is defiant and aggressive, and the white person just is concerned. See it charted all the time. That's a bias. It's racism. You don't feel like it is, but it is. It's systematic. And it's crazy. You don't advocate for black and brown children until never. You get what you can get out of them, though. I teach at a Title I school. Oh, I teach at a Title I school. Oh, I work with Title I students. Oh, I work in a majority black neighborhood. Most of my students are black. And you still racist as heck, Karen. You still racist as heck. The one thing I liked about the deconstructed, and I didn't talk about this other earlier, is when she was helping the women deconstruct their ideologies and their theories and everything else. If they had to cry or decided they were gonna cry, they had to leave the room. And the reason why they had to leave the room, because white women's tears have power. People have a tendency to be drawn. Is when a white woman cries, it's like the end of the world, and you have to stop the world and tend to them and try to make them more comfortable. Yeah, sick of it. This is why when you see those Karen videos, they start screaming and crying because they know that when white people cry, they're likely to get a faster response. And it's sad. It's sad. They know how to pull their tears out of their behinds to get a more prompt response. Don't fight me. Understand this is real and reality. You're not making a difference. You're making a problem. If you're gonna be a ally or advocate for black, advocate them for them and be an ally even when it's uncomfortable, even when people are calling you out and calling you insane and crazy and tell you that you shouldn't be and couldn't be and anything else. And then somebody also brought up the point that one of the most dangerous positions in this world right now is to be liberal white women, and I couldn't agree more, because they some of them, and I'm not going to say all of them, they bend into the patriarchy and into the freedom of being a woman themselves. They only are liberal up until a certain point when it doesn't serve their whiteness anymore. When it goes against their, or when it's threatening to their power, or when they're still letting the patriarchy control them because of their whiteness, their evidence of being white, while still having proximity to black. This is why proximity doesn't mean anything. I have watched white people love and care about white black people at work, in their work and stuff. And when push came to shove, they put their black coworker under the bus and saved themselves, only for it to catch up with them later. Y'all still ain't learned that lesson yet? Okay, whatever. I'm gonna be straight and frank with y'all about this whole conversation. Some people really don't want equality. They just want proximity. They don't want accountability. They want the influence without being challenged. They want to feel good, and you're beginning to see this grift, especially in politics. I can't stand it. You really want to know what makes you anti-racist? It's being informed, deconstructed, unlearned, refusing to stay silent, helping, being a voice in a crowd of whispers, checking yourself when you're uncomfortable, listening rather than getting defensive, understanding all viewpoints of the situation. It's not about power or performing kindness, it's about being kind and showing compassion. Y'all all right? Y'all have to do better. If y'all want this world to become a better place, I always say the change you want to see is going to start with you. It's going to begin with me. That's what that saying says. The change you want to see always begins with me. You got to fix you first. Same thing with any kind of thing. If you want to be in prosperous relationships and anything, you got to heal you first, babe. You can't bleed all over everybody and expect it to be fixed. What kind of sense does that make? I know I have lots of white associates, even a few white friends, near and dear to me. Some of y'all need to check yourselves and the things you say and the things you do and stuff, and see, is it really advocating? Am I really being racist and crazy? Have I really been deplorable and offensive on accident, softly? Because some of y'all out here is rough, man. I'd respect you more if you just say, I don't like black people. Please don't be in my face being fake. I'm good with that. You don't like black people? That's fine. That's your feeling, that's your opinion. But don't play in my face. Don't play on my top. And I'm going to end that right there. I know that's probably going to wear some of y'all out. I know some of y'all getting real mad. Real mad. And you'll be fine. I'm going to move on to this next segment. This is the end of my spring break. I've been worn out. Just to head y'all into spring, what it's been like. These last couple of weeks have been exceptionally rough. My stepmom has been in the hospital for 2 weeks now. Still trying to quite figure it out. I mean, they're saying things, but I'm scratching my head, and that's as much as I'm gonna get into it with that. And it's a whole lot, and that's as much as I'm gonna get into it with that. So I need a few tons of prayers on top of my own life going crazy. But I did get an opportunity, and it was a forced opportunity on myself because I don't get to go on vacation. I don't get to do things that I like, I enjoy. Like, my life is very much unenjoyable at this point. I feel like I am a prisoner in my own life. I tell jokes, laugh, and play, but I promise y'all, I feel very much imprisoned to my own child's psychology. I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. I don't have a sitter. People say one thing, do the other. All the things that go on, and it's like, so I ended up Tuesday. Made it. I figured out last week. I really wanted to just go to Buc-ee's. It's close. It's 71 miles from my house, just to say I got away for a minute, because I haven't been able to go anywhere or do anything that wasn't a work trip or a church trip. Just me going to do something without strings attached. Just ran to Buc-ee's. And I had fun. I really like Buc-ee's. Wish it was a little closer. Wish they put one in the metro, and I don't want no small Buc-ee's either, because I know there's a difference between little Buc-ee's and big Buc-ee's. Um, I really wish. Yawning again. We had a Buc-ee's here. I did a review on Buc-ee's on my TikTok and Facebook. So if you want to see my reviews, I told y'all, I don't know how y'all hype that brisket up, but that brisket is not it. It just ain't it, friends. Ladies and gentlemen, there are other things at Buc-ee's better than that brisket that's hot. I suggest you try it. My favorite thing at Buc-ee's was the Texas cheesesteak burrito. There you have it. That's what you should get. Not that dang brisket. Um, um, Thursday I had to go to Atlanta. Because and then stuff happened, and I ended up getting to Atlanta, and I couldn't do what I needed to do. So where I was beginning to get stuck at, I decided to get off the expressway and go down to China Cafeteria and the new Piccadilly's. with a drive through that's in South DeKalb, across from South DeKalb Mall. And baby, when I tell you a miss is the hit is always a hit and always will be a hit. First of all, China Cafeteria, y'all know me. I like my super special extra gravy on the rice and the wings with a lemonade, and I like my wings all flat or whatever. I used to get me that, and then before we go over, I would get me another 8 piece on the side to have me 16 pieces. They had just bought the wings up. The line was super long, etc. And China Cafeteria has not changed age to age. It is still Chef's Kiss. I want to tell y'all about that particular location. I've actually been going to that location before I was born. Let me explain it to you. I was born my home address when I was born is 3 minutes away from that China Cafeteria. I was born and in Grady, but I lived right there in front of Exchange Park off Stardust Circle. So my mama not waiting. I don't know what the MARTA buses was running like at that time. I don't know if she just want to exercise or what, but my mama used to walk that hill from Exchange Park all the way up to China Cafeteria every day and get chicken and broccoli with fried rice every day. Um, when she was pregnant with me, which is probably why I like Chinese food so much. And baby, you can't you I feel like the China Cafeteria and the only two that are really worth it. Because I know they have one on Old National, but the only two China cafeterias that's worth it is that one and the one that's on Cascade. I know people try to say, well, the $3 cafeteria is the same, $3 cafe, same people, blah blah. No, babe. I have nothing against $3 cafe, but China cafeteria still got my heart. You understand me? Do y'all understand me? The food was so good. So fracking good. Always. They have never let me down though in 37 years. Never. I used to eat there a whole lot when I was living in Atlanta in Decatur. When I used to go on weekends, like you couldn't discourage me when I actually got married and moved to Alabama. When I came back home, this is when Belvedere in Wesley Chapel was still open with Snapfinger. And one of the first things that I would do was go get my China cafeteria because you can deter me from a super special. Like, and it's still in all these years called the super special. I want my 8 piece wing, shrimp fried rice, and my lemonade. Period. Give me a little mustard, and I'm good. And this time I ain't even eat it with the mustard. I just had the braised wing sauce, child, gravy, as you call it there. I don't think y'all understand. So if you have a moment and you like Chinese food like I do, and I'm gonna tell you, yes, the wings small, but girl, that ain't never stopped me in 37 years from devouring that food over there. Stop by China Cafeteria. It's at the corner of Rainbow and Counter Road, and go in there and get you something to eat. They have other stuff too, and I've eaten noodles and mixed vegetables and stuff out of there, and it's not bad. It's just not what I want. I come there for the same thing. I've been coming there for braised wings, shrimp fried rice, and my drink. I've had lo mein, I've had mixed vegetables, I've had shrimp, I've had everything from there. But nothing is deterring me. And they still got the same decor, same sign flooring. It looked like it's rinky dinky about to fall in. It's the same place from my childhood, almost 40 years ago, which is crazy. I know, crazy work. But it's Atlanta staple. It is classic Atlanta. Although they only got one Atlanta location still open. I know the other ones is considered College Park, and then that's Decatur. But real Atlanta eat China cafeteria, okay? We just do. And Piccadilly redeemed themselves with the drive because that is the best Piccadilly. I got my 2-piece liver with mashed potatoes, um, collard greens, and macaroni and cheese and broccoli casserole. And yes, jalapeno cheese cornbread, yes. Triple yes, absolutely. Love it down. And no, I didn't eat all that in one day. It took me 2, 3 days. Y'all know this Wegovy is wool got my mouth closed. It worked. So yeah, after Thanksgiving horror story with Piccadilly on Godby Road, Stop the Cab is a win, and I'll probably just go there from now. Period. North Lake's good. Stop the Cab's 2 things: a drive-through and efficient. Love it down. Love it down real bad. Brings me into. Did I eat anything else this week? What did I eat yesterday? I eat anything yesterday? Oh, yeah. I want to talk about Red Lobster in the same area down the street, Counter Road. So for years, I've been evading. I've been hearing horror stories, nightmares, Jeeper Creepers level nightmares about the Red Lobster on Counter Road. I got treated there yesterday, and y'all a lie. Y'all a lie. Them people do not got bad service. It is not ghetto. It is not unclean in there and nasty and filthy and all these things. And the food not nasty. The food quality is better than the one I got here in Newnan. And Northlake is another one that I patronize. And I also go to 78 in Snellville. My experience at Counter Road yesterday was more pleasant than the other 3. Yikes on a bike. I hadn't been to Counter Road probably since I was a kid. Another place my mama frequented before I was born because she used to work there, actually, for years in the 80s. Y'all be y'all be telling lies. Their Red Lobster is not ghetto and unclean and nasty food. And I had between the table, we had an array of stuff, and it was all fresh and clean and good. Don't be out here lying on them because they in the black neighborhood. Y'all doing too much. We had a good service or whatever, and the food was good. It was fresh. It was hot. I have gotten cold food at Red Lobster, nasty food and everything. I'm interested. I didn't get a boil, but I'm interested to see what they boil tastes like compared to the one I got in Noonan. Y'all be lying. I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, I had to think it was anything else I ate this week. Mm, I don't know. I think that's everything. I really think that's everything. Back to shout outs. I want to shout out my longtime friend. That was another part of my bucket trip. I stopped at Opelika to see my long time, one of my longest running life friends, Heather, and a time we had. And yes, I'm going back to visit this summer. I want to shout her out for being the same age to age, for being a true friend, um, for not being judgmental and crazy and all the things. Because child, love you down. And super happy because let me tell you something. It take a lot to thrive in the country, and your girl is down there living, willing, and thriving. I used to live in that same area, babe. It take a lot to thrive in that area, and they doing it, and I'm proud of them. Okay, okay, that's my shout out for this week. Um, let's see what my challenge and my thoughts for this week is. This is what I want to challenge y'all with, and y'all listen and hear me closely. I think I've challenged this before. If you have family members that are chronically ill, going to the hospital, doctor visits, etc., please go with them to these doctor's appointments. I wish I had the flexibility to go to my parents' doctor's appointments. I don't. Shout out to my cousin Pooh. She usually is at their appointments with them. She the real MVP, or my brother, the real MVP in all of this, because it get rough. Because what I'm learning is the bedside manner and the things these doctors will say and do. It's crazy, and a lot of our older relatives, they don't know. They don't know how to advocate for themselves. They don't know how to ask questions, and these doctors know that, and they just do stuff and pass them along. Do stuff and pass it along. Do stuff and pass it along. Do stuff and pass it along. And it's not until your elderly family member get hurt and get sick and all the things until you figure these things out. So if you have somebody over the age about 65, 70, or they're chronically ill and it's a lot going on, please don't continue to let them go to the doctor by themselves. There's sometimes a knowledge barrier, etc., between the doctor and their understanding. And the doctor tell them to do one thing, they do the other, they don't do it at all. And a lot of times they're scared to ask questions, etc. And then bad situations happen. I really want y'all to consider going to the doctor with them and getting information so you can help them live and thrive. A lot of times they internalize stuff the doctor tell them, give them a negative prognosis and a diagnosis, and instead of them saying something, they don't say anything. And this has happened in my family until they can't hide it anymore. And it was something that was very treatable, preventable, etc. And because they didn't understand that they're dying now. Please, pretty please, advocate for them. Please go to the doctor with them. Also, please make sure you have your affairs in order. Please get life insurance. Please work on estate planning, care, all of that. That's why I'm in a bad situation now. You don't want to go through this. You don't want your children. If you're older and you listen to this, you do not want your children to feel the way I feel right now. If my mama, the ashes is back here in my curio. Some days I want to take them ashes and throw them up against the wall. That I'm so furious of what I'm going through right now, because it's on top of the disruption in my life. It's already disrupting me again. It's just disrupting over and over and over and over. Like, I have enough going on to not be dealing with the foolishness that I'm dealing with behind your lack of estate planning, care, anything. It's like you intentionally, which is she probably did, intentfully decided to not do anything. I'd been saying it for years and years and years to get your affairs in order, get your affairs in order, get your affairs in order, get your affairs in order. And I talked about how mean and condescending my mama was. And now here I am having to pick up the pieces of mean and condescending or whatever. It's not worth it. I don't care how you feel. It's not worth it. Or just don't have children. That's all I'm gonna say on that. And as any time, any other week, y'all continue to be kind and compassionate towards people. We are in a stretch of life where we don't know what's gonna happen one day to the next. People are dying. I feel like they just get falling off the face of the earth. Maybe because I know too many people that are grieving right now. There are people who are grieving. All the things are going on. Who are grieving lives. Who are grieving loss. Just loss of things that they used to have or freedoms and stuff they used to have. Like, it takes nothing to be kind to somebody. Be compassionate. Have a little empathy with people. I posted this the other day. I hope you never have to need the grace that you decide not to extend to others, because y'all do understand that one day you're going to need that grace, that care, and that compassion that you're choosing not to extend to others. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. I'm trying to answer some requests. Sorry. Sorry about that. I pray y'all never need to grace. Y'all decide not to extend to people. That y'all decided to be crazy towards people, hostile and stuff. Like, it's too much going on in this world to be crazy to people right now. You can literally be here today and gone tomorrow. I've just experienced this multiple times in the last few months. Like, child, I'm like, I just seen was I was supposed to call. Like, please have a little compassion and caring. It doesn't. You don't have to be mean and crazy all your life. Okay. All right. All right. Well, before we round this on out, because it's time to round this out. Uh, my journal, new journal, I have a journal on Amazon that's for sale. I'm taking orders for Mother's Day baskets until May 1st. Y'all get with me. Don't get left behind. You got about another 15, 16 more days to get those Mother Day baskets ordered in and paid. Um, I'm gonna make a flyer today about that. Um, yeah, help your girl out. I'm trying to maintain, I promise you. I'm trying to maintain. I'm just trying to maintain. That's all. Oh, my head. My head hurt a little bit, y'all. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But I'm gonna let y'all go. And like anything, if you can choose anything, choose to be kind, be loving, be caring, be empathetic, have some compassion, y'all. And as always, stay at peace and not in pieces. I shout. Talk to y'all later. I promise y'all I'm finna upload these episodes. I promise y'all I'm finna upload them, okay? All right. Thank you for hanging there with me. Bye.